Hope you're all doing well, guys. Today I've got some BF1 gameplay from Battle of the Somme. We'll be talking a little bit about that, but also some Battlefield stuff in general. Some really satisfying sniper shots in this one. This was one of the last maps that they released for BF1, but it's actually one of the most popular. Like, if you go in the server browser, I don't know what it's like on console, but on PC, there's always people playing this map. Of course, this battle was very iconic in World War I, but it's interesting in this game because they have it as a Conquest Assault, which means that the British team just start with a deployment and then the German team get the rest of the map, and you've got to try and attack as the British and take it over. And if you manage to do that, then the German team won't have a deployment, but there's a chance if they play well, they revive, bit of teamwork, they can actually cap a flag back and then start deploying. And it's just a very back and forth game mode. Conquest Assault, I think, has been around since BF 1942. I think there were a couple of maps there that had it. One of them was Suez and maybe Battle of the Bulge. I'm just trying to remember. My fondest memories of it come from BF2 and playing on Strike at Karkin. Like, it was such a good game mode on that map back in the day. I always prefer playing as the attackers as well. That's always been the case through all the Battlefield games that I play. I've always preferred attack. Defense, just, I get bored of it, especially if you're playing against a team that isn't great, because it just becomes a bit of a grind fest where you might be sniping at the back or something, or you'll push right up and you just bleed their tickets down to the next map. But it does work very well on certain Battlefield maps and games, and the Somme on BF1 I think is definitely one of those. Now, you may have figured it out already, but obviously this isn't gameplay commentary. Sometimes I just like to play the game and record. It's because playing the game and just focusing on that is very different to playing the game and recording microphone and commentary at the same time, because whilst you're doing that, you have to think about how it's going to be for the video. What's the narrative? Is there some kind of storyline in this gameplay video, or a point to be made, something to be shown? Is it just generic having fun? So actually getting to kick back and just play a few rounds of BF without like adding commentary on the top, it was quite nice actually. I liked it. I might do some more of this in the future, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this kind of video. It's Sunday, it's a bit of a lazy one today, to be honest, and I thought this would be a fitting video for today. April in general, really, I mean, the last couple of weeks has been quite busy for me, just with some personal stuff. From a business standpoint, April is a busy month in terms of doing tax returns, VAT returns, all that boring stuff. Lots of admin work, yada yada. Not going to bore you with the details, but gameplay wise, there's been a lot of BF 2042 happening with a couple of decent featured game modes, and then of course the patch came out. We've had the Warzone Godzilla stuff, some more adventures in space with Star Citizen, which I'm loving right now, even though there's a ton of bugs. Just the level of detail in that game and the scope and the possibility is ridiculous. Even something like Myth Force, you know, the game that looked like the 80s cartoons, played through the old BF3 co-op campaign with Tomo, that was really surprising. Lego Star Wars, that was awesome, really blew away any expectations that I had there. We even did Ranch Simulator, which, I mean, like, I'm so grateful to you guys for the fact that I can play a game like Ranch Simulator and you'll turn up and watch that and support me. I mean, that video's got 224,000 views. When I posted it, I thought, you know, maybe like 100k or something. It's not going to be popular, but yeah, I'm just blown away, to be honest, with the support. Like, I love being variety on YouTube. FPS games always going to be my bread and butter, especially Battlefield, and definitely COD. You know, I've gained a big COD Warzone audience over the last couple of years, and going forward this year, Modern Warfare 2, they've been teasing some stuff. Warzone 2 I think is going to be massive. Modern Warfare 2 in general, there's rumors that Modern Warfare 2's got some kind of DMZ extraction type game mode like The Cycle or like Escape from Tarkov, and if they've done that well, you know, they've been working on this for 3 years, if the rumors are true, that could be absolutely huge in terms of player base, but also for content creators out there who are looking to jump into that game, post gameplay, post tips, tricks, all that good stuff. But yeah, I'm just super grateful that even after 10.5 years, we're still going strong here, and I appreciate your support. It's been great to see some of the reaction to the 2042 4.0 patch as well. I've already done a full video with some gameplay talking about the patch and kind of saying, you know, it looks like that the game is on the right track now, and that patch is how the game should have launched in terms of what DICE had designed and set out to release. I think it still has a long way to go for sure. But it's just nice to see some positive sentiment in the community, because since the first week of launch, really, it's just all been bad. And I think that's fair. The amount of bugs that the game launched with, some of the design choices that were made, still no real new content yet. And they have actually stated again that they're looking at reworking the specialists. They said that they're not going to get rid of them completely, but reworking them. There was a couple of replies on the EA forums where they do the answer stuff over there. I don't really look at those forums, but people often share interesting tidbits from them on Reddit and social media. And there was an answer that since the launch of the game, they've seen the feedback on specialists from a gameplay perspective, and they'll be reworking them but not completely removing them. And I've talked about this before, but I imagine that they'll just hardline each of the specialists into more of a classic Battlefield class role. So maybe you could only get the medkit if you were playing as Angel and Falk. Maybe you could only get a rocket launcher if you were playing as McKay and Sundance, for example. I don't think they'll ever remove the ability to pick whatever weapon you want, but I can definitely see gadgets and traits being hardlined into specific classes of specialists in the future. I'm guessing that they'll focus much more on infantry in terms of weapons and map designs going forward too, and I think a bit more destruction in the upcoming maps would be cool as well. If you look at the player count on Steam charts as well, it's up to like 4,100-ish concurrent players at the moment. And if you look at the history of concurrent players, it started at 100,000 on Steam in November last year, and now it's 4% of that. So there's obviously been a massive drop off of players up to this point. Of course, that's just on Steam. The reality is that the game has a lot more players than that. I think a lot of Battlefield PC players would have bought it on Origin and they'll be playing it on that. You've got the Epic Games Store as well. And of course, the 3 next-gen consoles, PS5, Xbox Series S and X, so they can all cross-play together with PC. Old-gen consoles, PS4 and Xbox One, game is on there too, but they're separate in their own ecosystem. So I would love to see the actual total of concurrent players across the board rather than people who were just playing the game on Steam. Mostly driven out of curiosity to see how much of an impact this patch has had on people playing the game and coming back to the game, maybe buying it now and trying it out for the first time. It's going to be an interesting one to follow for sure. And Season 1, when that drops in summer, that will be a big moment for this game, and I think for a lot of people playing it, it will decide, do I want to invest more into this or just leave it where it is? And in between now and summer, June, I would guess, there's probably going to be a couple more patches for the game, and maybe those specialist reworks will be included in there. Hopefully the map changes they've talked about too with some of the existing 2042 maps. For me personally, after playing a lot of the flashback Conquest game mode and infantry conquest on the Bad Company 2 maps in Portal and the BF3 maps, 64 players only 2, for me it becomes more obvious that the map design of the new maps, maybe that is one of the biggest problems with the game as it stands. So perhaps going forward, I swing the pendulum back to 64 players. Maybe that'll apply to future games as well. We'll see. And that's all I wanted to chat about, guys, today. Hopefully you've enjoyed this one. Bit of chit chatter and enjoyed the gameplay in the background there. Some sniping on the Battle of the Somme. BF1, it's classic. Sniping's great in it. Love that map. Hits all the spots, you know. With that said, have a great day. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. Dislike if you didn't. Subscribe for more. I'll see you next time.